everyone's favourite trans woman, Dylan Mulvaney, was cast as Anne Boleyn in 6 on Broadway, and it is just a short-lived stint on the Broadway stage for Dylan. And we covered this several weeks ago when the announcement went ahead, and we had a look at what Dylan had to say. Dylan did acknowledge the fact that it was probably the status that got Dylan that role of Anne Boleyn, and well, I wasn't too keen on the idea of a trans woman playing a historical character that we knew to be biologically female. However, now we're not going to necessarily get into that specifically. We're going to take a look at some clips from the musical. Dylan has now made the Broadway debut as Anne Boleyn. Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. I crown you Queen of the Woke! Let's chat about it. Before we take a look at those video clips, please do bear in mind that just because I say that Dylan is a man, which is biologically correct, does not make that transphobia. People throw that word around way too easily these days. I have a lot of trans creators that I follow on my channel, and I like them very much indeed, and they're very, very based in reality. I cover a lot of those who perhaps make an example of women and are not very kind to women, in my opinion. And that is just an opinion. That doesn't mean to say that I'm scared of people like Dylan Mulvaney. I'm not. And like I said in my last video about Dylan, I would rather, if I had to choose between Dylan and Lily Tino to hang out with, I would choose Dylan because we have so much more in common. And I don't think Dylan is as harsh with the content. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so I'm going to put my performance analytic head on now, and we're going to take a look at 2 video clips of Dylan performing as Anne Boleyn. Now, this is where Dylan is singing, and I personally am not going to question Dylan's ability to sing or anything like that. And I have to turn the sound off because obviously I'll get hit with copyright, which I don't really want. We're going to look at how Dylan is presenting in this versus the other ladies. Let's just put it like that. Is Dylan a convincing feminine Anne Boleyn? Let's find out. So these were on X, and this was from Gay Not Queer, and they say Dylan Mulvaney playing Anne Boleyn in 6. So Dylan Mulvaney is now starring as Anne Boleyn in 6 on Broadway. Let's take a look. Okay, go. Okay, that's interesting. Right, so right, okay. So I'll never say an actor is bad, so I'm not going to say that Dylan is bad. I know what it's up there. I know what it means to be up there and doing it and things like that. So I'm never ever going to say, Dylan is exceptionally bad at this. Feel free to say your opinions on this. Obviously, please do keep it friendly in the chat as well. Now, I'm looking at what Dylan is doing here, and I would say that it looks a little bit under-rehearsed. It doesn't look as pow as perhaps what the other ladies are doing. The other ladies are very much like whoop, 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 if that's a way to describe it. But Dylan's not doing that so much. I don't know what the change of the cast turnaround is like. Here it's about 4 to 6 weeks in the UK. I don't know what it is for Broadway. Sorry, I just don't know that information. Now, if you're looking at femininity, it's very, very clear here that this is a trans woman. Very, very clear. You can see all the muscles and things like that in Dylan's arms, and the hips are not moving as much. Now, let's take a look at the other angle for this. This will perhaps give us a lot more. Right, let's just switch it over here. And of course it crashes at that point, right? Okay, so more footage showing what a great singer and dancer Dylan Mulvaney is. Not going to pass comment on the singing. Yeah, and there you can see it, right? Okay, so Dylan's going for more dynamic with the feet, which is not actually what the ladies are doing. Technically, it should all be the same. I'm just watching a bit more. Okay, now I don't know what Dylan is doing with the hands, but again, it's like a stereotype of the softly that the women have. Now Broadway energy is very different to West End energy. I'm just going to say that from what clips I've seen on Broadway, it's very much more dynamic, very much more energetic. What Dylan is giving here energy wise is probably less than West End. So and that's saying something. You know, Dylan's an American performer. Technically it should be a higher energy than our performers on the West End. That's obviously just an opinion. And the other ladies around him, they're very much more dynamic. Their hips are popping a lot more, and that's because they are biologically female, so their hips rotate in a way that Dylan's cannot. Yeah, I don't know about this. I think this wasn't the best casting choice. I think this was most likely a miscast, but obviously I have not seen the entire production of this version to say what I completely think about it. But it's like it's essentially a man, biological man who is a trans woman playing what he thought a Tudor queen would have been like in a sort of non-historical context, right? To me, out of all of the wives of Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn was probably the most energetic one of the bunch. So therefore, out of the 6 ladies that are on stage, or sorry, 5 ladies that are on stage and 1 trans woman, Dylan really should be the most energetic here, in my opinion, but it's very, very underperformed. It's almost like the ladies on stage are upstaging Dylan without even meaning to. And they're not meaning to, you know, that obviously they've got to work with Dylan, they've got to get on with it, they've got to behave themselves, and I don't know if they've got any opinions about Dylan being in it, but yeah, I think this is a miscast. I think it was a miscast anyway to begin with, given the reasons behind it that I sort of talked about in the last video, which I will make sure to link at the end on the closing tab. But I don't think this was a good idea yet. Yeah, I mean, look at that. The other lady's all feminine and bouncy, and Dylan's just very stiff and not moving properly. Right, so let's take a look at some of the comments as well, just to see what people had to say. Broadway is really going downhill. How many women are playing men, by the way? Well, in this case, it is 0. There are no men in this one. I wonder if the understudy is female. I should look up at some point, actually. I should check. But I don't know how to check for Broadway. The whole thing has a guest appearance at a major show by a local drag act performer look to it, but minus the option for light-hearted laughter at oops gestures from the performers at being uncoordinated with the cast. Yeah, there was definitely some lack of synchronicity. I so butchered that word. I am so sorry. I've been off for a long time. I gave up talking clearly, but the synchronization was very off indeed. This person says, what strikes me most, honestly, his singing voice compared to the women. It's like compiling a girl band. You look for complementary voices and harmonics. There's none to speak of here. Now, I'm not going to judge that too much, but the women around and in the audio are much louder than him, right? So this other person says he performs like a 70s show's host trying to play along with a guest slot on his TV show. All it needed was a breathless ooh, and they were good, weren't they? I had trouble keeping up. I don't know if you noticed. Pause for laughter. Big round of applause. Everyone for the cast of ... Yeah, I think by Broadway standards, she's actually pretty terrible. There are many stage actresses who would do way better than that. She got the part because she is controversial and will sell tickets. That hit the nail right on the head, and it was something that Dylan also acknowledged as well. Selling of tickets. And, stunt casting. Really, that's essentially what this is. My lighting is off. I do apologize. I very much apologize. It's not normally this orange. Oh well, for today I'll have to let it go. Let it go. But yes, stunt casting. It's very much a thing here. It's not a thing that I particularly love because it doesn't necessarily mean that the actor in question got it on merit and talent, as opposed to being brought in just to put bums on seats. And I think probably Six was perhaps suffering a little bit from lack of sales, so that's why they brought in Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan, controversial. Dylan can act. Dylan can dance. Dylan can do all of that. Very much true, but was this something that was given on merit or because it was controversial? And I think it was most likely controversial. I think this was an oversight on the part of the creators of the show, the runners of the Broadway version, excuse me. You could have got any celebrity woman in to do this, and it would have been absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You would have had many a celebrity woman out there to do that. But no, you had to choose Dylan Mulvaney and go down the route of a trans woman. That's up to you. We'll see how that affects you as a show. It probably won't affect you in the short run, but maybe in the long run, it might not even prove fruitful to have Dylan Mulvaney in the show. Who knows, really, at the end of the day? Have you seen Dylan in the show? If you have, please do let me know what you think of Dylan's performance in the comments section below. I am back with Doctor Who Sunday tomorrow. Woohoo! Don't forget to chat about it. Don't chat about it. It's been a long time since I've done the intro. Sorry if I've been a bit sort of waffly in this video. I know that's not like me, but thank you very much for watching, and hopefully back to normal schedule from next week. Bye bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.